ketchup on the collar. Your girl was hungry last night and I got a little messy, okay? That's how you know it's good, when it's on your shirt. Anyway, I'm up early this morning. In my thoughts, yesterday was my last day at TD Bank. Everybody's wondering, why did I leave TD Bank? And let's start about the basic practical reasons, okay? It's too far, the location I was commuting to. So I was commuting 20 miles to work every day, 20 miles back, putting 40 miles on my car every day, gas and tolls. It was a lot. And, you know, with traffic and stuff on the parkway, it's always traffic. So a 20-minute to 30-minute ride becomes like a 45 to hour-minute ride, depending on traffic. So I've been doing that for 2 years, and I'm just really tired of all the commuting and shit. So that's one of the basic reasons. It's going to help me save money and shit like that. But the bigger reason is, from the time I got hired to the time I resigned, I had dealt with a lot of toxic behavior from different people that I work with. So let's start off with how it started. The branch I started training at was cool, but they trained me at a branch that I wasn't going to work at. So then they sent me to another branch, which was even further from my house, that was supposed to be my permanent branch. That started off great. I hit it off well with my co-workers and everything, made some really cool friendships, and then they hired a new manager for that branch, who was new to bank. Not new to banking, but new to TD. And she definitely was very much in her ego. I had made some connections when I got to that branch and had started bringing people together, and everybody was getting along, which that had never happened at that branch. And then she came along and really didn't like that, you know, I had the type of connections that I had with people, and felt like people listened to me more than they listened to her. And, you know, granted, that's just what it is. Like, it doesn't matter what job I've had. People always put me in a position of being a leader, even if I don't want to be. And, you know, when I came to that branch, they had this girl working as like a CEC, which is like just a bank associate, and they wouldn't let her open certain accounts. They had an SR shark there who would just take all the accounts and not give her any. And so when I came there, I taught her how to open up the accounts they said that she couldn't open. And so she started opening up those accounts. And she taught me some things too. But by the time I was leaving there, she knew how to open up all the different types of accounts. The SR for that branch had been going up. Furthermore, the new manager had went to a month of training, but still didn't know how to do basic shit. So I was helping her too. But she wanted to get in a pissing contest with me. And you already know what time it is. You want to get a pissing contest with me. My big dick energy is big, especially if that's the angle you coming at me at. So I remember this one day, I don't know what she said or did or whatever, but I answered her question and she didn't like the answer. And then she's like, oh, well, come with me in the office. So I go in the office with her, and she tells me that she had already spoke to the regional and okayed me to transfer back to the branch that I trained at. And made it seem like it was because she didn't want me to have to deal with bad weather because we were getting ready to go into the winter season or something like that. When it really came down to, you're transferring me because you don't want to deal with me, because you want to be the biggest ego in the room, and you want to be able to control people and manipulate people, and you already know that I'm not going to be controlled or manipulated, whether you're my manager or not. It's not happening. I do a very good job at whatever job I'm doing, and I don't need to be micromanaged or controlled or manipulated by anybody to do my fucking job, okay? So she transferred me back to the branch that I trained at without even asking me if I wanted to go, which I could have called HR on her about that shit, but I didn't, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to be at that branch anyway, and I liked the branch that I had trained at. Strike number one, okay? Now I'm back at the branch. I'm a retail banker too. I'm killing it on the platform. I'm the leader in SR and wealth referrals at that branch. And the assistant manager ended up getting let go. So then when the assistant manager get let go, nobody was applying for the assistant manager position at that point. And so I said, well, fuck it. I know I ain't ready for it, but I'm gonna apply for it anyway and just throw my hat in the ring since nobody was applying for it. At that point, the store supervisor found out that I applied for it, and obviously she didn't want to have to train me when she knew more than me. So then all of a sudden now she applied for assistant manager. So of course she got it because she was way more qualified, and I was happy for her. But her motives for getting it was just because she didn't want me to have it, and she didn't want to have to train me because she felt like she knew more than me. Which, as y'all know, at most jobs, you're always training somebody and you know more than them. Now that left the store supervisor position open. I never wanted the store supervisor position. It's the hardest position in the branch. It's the most physically taxing position in the branch. And it's a lot of responsibility. You have to know the platform side of things. You have to know the teller side of things. You have to know all the operational stuff. It's a lot of stuff to know. And the only reason why I applied for it was because she wrote me in the corner and said, you know, the manager was disappointed that I didn't apply for store soup. So I said, well, that's funny, because when I asked her if I was ready for that position, she said I wasn't. And she was like, yeah, I know, but she's not going to tell you or whatever. So at that point, I feel like they both wanted me to apply for it and that they would support me, you know, in doing my best in that position. So I applied for it, and obviously I got it because they wanted me to have it. So got a slight bump in my pay, not as much as they should have paid me for that job. But anyway, I took the position, right? So now me and my assistant manager, you know, she's the one responsible for training me, okay? And mind you, the first month of that position, I was on vacation because it was November, it was my birthday. I take all my PTO in November. So technically, I didn't really start that position probably till December the 1st, okay? Because then you had my birthday, you had Thanksgiving, so I was out. So little by little, she's training me on the things that I have to do and this and that. I'm constantly asking her, like, how am I doing? Am I up to speed? Let me know. She would tell me I'm great. She would tell me there's no issues. You just have to remember to do this, remember to do that. I take my notes, I remember to do it, whatever. Okay? Flash forward to, I think that was June, a couple months ago, June. Our regional came to do audit questions. So when you work at a bank, the bank will have, like, once a quarter, the regional operations officer will come and quiz you on your knowledge of bank practices and bank operations and all this type of stuff, procedures and stuff. And you have to answer all these questions correctly because it gives the branch a certain score. And the higher you score, the better your payout is when you get your commissions and shit. So I answered all the questions. I was nervous as hell. I did great on the questions. Okay, I had studied for months. That was the other thing that I didn't like. Every time the regional would come for the questions, my manager would say, oh, you just conveniently went to lunch when they came to do questions or whatever, as if I was avoiding doing questions. No, I wasn't avoiding doing questions, and you're always talking shit saying that I am. So one of the things that bothered me is that when I did better on the questions than my assistant manager did the quarter before, nobody said, oh, Jackie, that's great. Thank you for doing the questions. You did great. Like, thanks for helping the team. Nobody said anything like that. But yet you always had something to say about me avoiding the questions when I was never avoiding the questions. Okay. So that's another strike. So anyway, I answered all the questions and I did well. So when I came out from having the meeting with the regional, which was like 2 hours long, instead of my assistant manager saying, oh, you did a great job, I'm so proud of you, thank you for answering all the questions, she said nothing. Okay. She said nothing other than, damn, you were in there for a long time. Okay. So then flash forward to, you know, he calls her into the office to, like, go an overview over the questions and how I answered and stuff. And somehow or another, and I don't have proof of this, the question of how I'm doing in my position came up. And this is the regional. Okay. The regional has the ability to fire and terminate and do whatever he wants to do as far as employees is concerned. So when he asked her how I was doing in my position, this bitch gonna say, oh, she's not up to speed. Like, it wasn't a positive thing. And to which he responded and said, oh, well, do you think that she needs to go to other branches to shadow other store soup so that she can learn her position? So when she said it to me, I said to her, I said, well, if I'm not up to speed in my position, then that's honestly your fault because you're the one who's responsible for training me. And I said, why do I need to go shadow other store soups if you're training me? To which she said nothing. So now this put a bug up my ass because I'm like, why the fuck would this bitch do this shit? Like, if that was me and it was the other way around and a regional came and asked me how my employee was doing, I'm going to tell them that they're doing great and they're learning every day and they're getting better the more time goes by. Okay? I would never throw you under the bus, especially when you've already sat up and told me multiple times that I'm doing great. So in my mind, because she got a thing for the regional, and she's trying to get in the position that she's trying to get in the future, so she's trying to get in good with him. So you mad that I was in the office with him for 2 hours, keying and doing my questions. But when you had to sit on the phone with him for your 2-3 hours and key with him, nobody had an attitude with you for answering the questions. So basically, you were mad that you didn't get to shine that day and somebody else was getting to shine. And that was the nail in the coffin for me, okay? That was the nail in the coffin for me. So then when I called you that night and I confronted you about it, because I confront people about shit that bothers me. I'm not going to sit up and act passive aggressive and have an attitude and shit. I'm going to just ask you straight up, what the fuck was that shit about? And she was like, oh no, it wasn't even that deep or whatever, and like really was nonchalant about it. But in my mind, I'm like, checkmate, bitch. And that's when I decided that I wasn't going to work at TD Bank no more, okay? So I had already been in an application process and an interview process with this other bank, and it had been going on for a long time because the regional for their branch had a lot of stuff to do in those months or whatever, so my interviews kept getting spaced out. So I think it was July 20 something, the 23rd, I believe, or the 22nd, and my assistant manager was going on PTO for a week, and I already knew I had the job before she went on vacation, but I didn't tell her. So that Monday when I came back, I was going to put my notice in, but my main manager wasn't there. So I waited till Tuesday. I put my 3-week notice in. I give the letter to my manager and she's like, oh, why? I said, there's a lot of different reasons why. I said, but ultimately I have to do what's best for me, and TD Bank is not what's best for me. To which she said, okay, duly noted, and left it at that. Okay? Never said anything else to me about it. And I wasn't going to text my assistant manager while she was on vacation to let her know I was put my 3 weeks in, but I also didn't want her to be blindsided when she came back. So I sent her a text and I said, I just want to let you know that I put my 3 weeks in today, and I didn't want to interrupt you on vacation, but I didn't want you to be blindsided when you came back. To which this bitch said, okay, thank you. Okay, so at that point I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. I said, you're welcome. And then she's like, well, if you're not happy, you're not happy. I support anybody, in their growth and them like being where they want to be and doing what they want to do, whatever, which was some stupid generic ass answer, which was not what she really felt at all. And so, I let that go too. So when she came, she said, we'll talk when I come back. Came back. She never asked me why I was leaving. She never asked me, where I was going. She never asked me shit about shit. Okay. So this is what I learned about my assistant manager. Number one, she's a child, and she has a lot of growing to do, maturity-wise, emotionally-wise. But she's one of those types of people that wants to see you do good, but not better than her. She is known for coming in the branch and saying that she's tired of doing everybody's job and taking credit for everything. For instance, there's a new guy working there that she doesn't even like, doesn't really interact with him at all. And she heard him saying, my pleasure, to somebody, like a customer said, thank you. And he said, my pleasure, have a great day. She gonna say, oh, I taught him well. You didn't teach him that shit. He probably heard all of us saying that shit and started saying it. But for you to think that he learned something from you when you don't even like him is amazing to me, because you don't even talk to him. But that's my whole point. Anything good that happened in the branch, she takes credit for, even if it don't have shit to do with her. And when she goes on vacation, she acts like the branch is going to burn down because she's not there, because she does so much. We were happier when she wasn't there. And that's the God honest truth. Whenever she was saying she was going on PTO, we all were happier without her there. Because working with her is stressful. Not because she's on your back or whatever, but if something pisses her off or she doesn't like something, she goes on a fucking toxic ass rant and stays mad all day and makes it uncomfortable for everybody. Like, a lot of times I look at people and I'm just like, you want to know why you're lonely? You want to know why you don't have like a man? You want to know why you don't have the things in your life that you actually want to have? Because you're a miserable fucking person, and that's the energy that you put out. And I'm never going to be sitting here trying to make somebody see what's wrong with them when they don't see it, because me and her had plenty of conversations about her fucking attitude and how she talks to people. Plenty of conversations. And those conversations that we had was me being like supportive and trying to give her constructive criticism so she could understand that how she moved is not managerial at all. She gossips a lot. She talks shit about people a lot. And gets mad when you don't partake in it. Because one of the last things she did was me and her opened together, and she was mad at another employee because they didn't say thank you about her approving their days. And I'm just like, bro, your job is to approve the schedule or disapprove the schedule. Nobody has to say thank you to you for you approving shit. You always are looking for a fucking sticker and a pat on the head for some shit that you did or didn't do. And that shit is annoying. It's not personal. People don't have to say thank you for approving their time. People don't have to say thank you for shit. And the ironic shit is, you're sitting up talking about this person to me, kicking their back into me, and then when I am diplomatic and take the high road and say, you know, don't let it stress you out, it's not personal, you get an attitude with me and walk out my face and slam a door in my face because I didn't want to partake in your fucking gossiping and kicking somebody's back in. Bitch, my energy is so higher than that. I was lowering my energy to work with you, and that's why I fucking left. I'm very high vibrational. I'm very supportive. I'm very much a team player. And what people said to me when I told them that I was leaving was that they wished it was her and not me. So for me, it's just like, bro, you're acting like you're such an asset to the team when you're really not. You're an asset to yourself because that's all you care about is yourself. You know, I had a conversation with somebody and they said, you know, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. And there is. People that manage are not always leaders, and people that lead are not always managers. I'm a leader. I don't want to manage. I'm a leader in the sense that I'm going to make people better than who they, I'm make people a better version of themselves. I don't give a fuck about sales and numbers and quotas and all this stupid bullshit. I care about developing people. That's what makes me a leader. You're a manager because all you care about is the title and the clout and the power that you have with that title. I never gave a fuck about that shit. That's why I didn't want that shit. And what I learned is that I don't want to be a manager. I will be a leader in my personal as a person, and I will develop people because that's what I like to do. I like to see people be the best versions of themselves. I don't need to be a manager to do that. However, the better manager is somebody that understands that developing your employees is what adds to your company and will help your numbers when you develop people. Saying, I appreciate you, saying thank you. Even with coaching, you don't come to somebody and coach them and tell them all the negative shit that they did when you coach them. You tell them, I was listening and you did great that with this, that, and the third. You always give somebody criticism with a spoonful of sugar. You understand what I'm saying? And then once you've given them the sugar, then you say, this is what you could work on in the future that would give you better results. And you tell them that. I did the fucking Be Legendary training on how to coach people, and I did stellar in my training, and it wasn't because somebody told me how to do it, it's because that's me naturally. So I removed myself from that job because it was a toxic work environment. Then on top of that, you have a regional marketing manager who's a fucking tyrant and pushing us to sell products to customers that they don't really fucking need. They have been given survey after survey and HR investigation after HR investigation asking about this woman. And largely across that region, people are complaining about her. And before her, the whole sales thing, yes, it was there, but it wasn't a thing of like, she's sending emails talking about, oh, you're not doing your job unless you get a credit card application every day. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch? You're over there sitting on your little high fucking horse making your fucking 6 figures or whatever the fuck you're making, and you don't understand what it's like to be in the trenches and seeing regular customers every day. People are out here struggling, okay? Struggling hard, don't have money to eat, but you think motherfuckers got money to pay credit card bills and interest fees out they fucking ass. That's bad banking, in my opinion, and it's predatory. And that was another reason why I left. You know, it had become more about making the sale and instead of helping the customer. And y'all know I'm big on customer service. That's my shit. Customer service is my shit. I pride myself on being great at what I do and helping my customers. And on my exit from TD Bank, I cannot tell you the amount of customers that came to me telling me that they're going to miss me. They're not going to go to that branch anymore now that I'm not there, bringing me gifts. Like, my customers appreciate me more than the people that I fucking work for. More than the people that I fucking work for. So I removed myself. I exited stage left. I'm now going to work at a different bank with better hours, weekends off, more money, not a supervisory position, but I'm making more than what I was making in my supervisory position. So that's the rundown. That's where I'm at. And honestly, you know, I went in on my exit survey and I really spoke about everything that I needed to speak about. And I hope that they really start to make changes in that branch and in that region for their own sake. Because the way it's going now, they're not going to keep any employees, especially if they meet ones like me that's not going to settle for dealing with bullshit from people. Thanks for watching. Your support is always appreciated. Don't forget to drop a comment, smash that like and subscribe, and then share. But if y'all want to show some support with them dollars though, throw your girl a Cash App on handle $EmpressElite. You feel me? Until we meet again, you're gonna take these kisses.